Have you ever just looked around your life, counted the number of people you'd actually consider true friends, and realized, wow, that number is literally hovering right around zero? Society is always telling us that a massive social circle is the ultimate sign of success, right? So naturally, you've probably felt a little twinge of guilt about it. But what if everything you've ever been taught about having no friends is just completely wrong? Well, in this explainer, we're going to decode the real, unseen, psychological reasons behind your small social circle. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to view your solitude in an entirely different light.
Okay, let's dive into this. If you've been flying solo for a long time, the common myth out there is that you're broken, antisocial, or just some kind of social failure. You might have even started to believe some of those labels yourself, but the psychological reality? It's entirely different. People with few or no friends aren't broken. They absolutely aren't failures. They're actually profound, deeply ingrained psychological reasons dictating your social life. Reasons that the average person simply doesn't get. Your unique story is likely hidden in 5 specific traits, and we're breaking every single one of them down right now.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Zero Fake Tolerance.
Your tolerance for anything fake is basically zero. You possess this internal psychological radar that is just incredibly fine-tuned to inauthenticity. I mean, sure, some people can smile and nod their way through superficial interactions, but not you. You instantly detect when someone is acting one way to your face and a completely different way behind your back. It's honestly like a superpower, like you're a walking, breathing human lie detector, but it's also a superpower that drastically narrows down the pool of people you actually want to spend your time with.
Because of this radar, you strongly prefer just being alone over sitting with fake people. I want you to really absorb that for a second. Your solitude is not a social deficit. It's an active, healthy choice. You're consciously choosing your own company because the alternative, compromising your own integrity just to sit in a room full of people pretending to be something they aren't, is absolutely unbearable to you. So you aren't lacking friends at all. You are just actively rejecting fake ones.
Moving right along to Section 2, your limited social energy.
Here's the thing. You have a very strict social energy limit. For you, interacting with average people isn't just a casual way to pass the time, it is an active expenditure of your mental resources. Other people just literally drain you. Your brain has a very specific, capped capacity for social interaction, so average conversations or just being surrounded by big crowds rapidly eats away at those energy reserves. You don't have endless social stamina, and there's a fascinating psychological reason for that.
So, what's really driving this exhaustion? Well, the core reason is that you don't just listen, you analyze. When you're in a conversation, your brain is working in absolute overdrive. You aren't just passively hearing words. Nope, you are analyzing tones, body language, underlying motives, subtext, the whole shebang. Your highly analytical mind is overprocessing literally every single detail of the interaction. No wonder you feel exhausted, right? Every single chat is a high-level cognitive task for you.
Because your brain is doing all that heavy lifting, you require a very specific recovery process. To recharge, you literally have to step away from people and embrace complete solitude. And let's be clear, this isn't you being antisocial. This is you performing absolutely vital maintenance on your mental health. Isolation is your necessary biological mechanism for recharging those drained batteries so you can get back to functioning at your best.
Which brings us nicely to Section 3, the independent mind.
When you spend that much time enjoying your own company, you naturally develop some really distinct independence traits. You simply do not need others the way most people do. You're entirely self-entertaining, you don't need a huge crowd to have a good time or feel fulfilled, but more importantly, you are fully capable of thinking for yourself and making independent decisions. You don't need a whole committee of friends to validate your choices. This ability to think, act, and find joy entirely on your own is exactly what separates you from the crowd. You're practically your own self-sustaining ecosystem.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, Independence and Trust Issues.
Listen, you already know that not everyone out there is trustworthy. You don't hand your trust out easily, and frankly, why on earth should you? Your guarded nature isn't a flaw, it's a learned defense mechanism. You've already learned the harsh, but very realistic truth that human beings are complicated, and not all of them have good intentions. Because you value your peace and your limited social energy so much, you are fiercely protective of who actually gets access to it.
And to protect that precious energy, you naturally utilize this brilliant internal 3-step psychological vetting process.
First up, you observe. You just kind of watch from a distance to see how people behave when they think no one is looking. Second, you test. You might throw out a small piece of info or set a tiny boundary just to see how they react. And finally, only after steps 1 and 2 are complete, you decide. You consciously decide who actually gets to be a real friend and who stays firmly in the acquaintance zone. It's highly selective, and that is completely by design.
And finally, that leads us right into Section 5, the ultimate truth. If you have few friends, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means your standards are high. I really want you to let that sink in for a minute, because this right here is the ultimate takeaway. We are completely destroying the myth that you're somehow broken. Having a small social circle is not a mark of failure. It is absolutely a badge of honor. It proves that you value authenticity over popularity. It proves that you actively protect your mental energy. It proves you absolutely refuse to settle for mediocre connections just to avoid being alone. Your social circle is small because your barrier to entry is rightly, unapologetically high.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a look at your life right now. Look at the 1 or 2 people who are actually still standing beside you, who has actually passed your trust test. Whoever they are, realize the immense value they bring to your life and the immense value you bring to theirs. You aren't friendless because you're flawed, you are selectively social because you know your worth. Take a moment to really appreciate the incredible standard you set for your life. Keep observing, keep trusting your radar, and never ever apologize for protecting your peace. So, who's the one person that actually made the cut?